Hi everyone. I hope more people join, but I'm going to work with those who are here now. So this is a live video, but it's gonna be available later for viewing. So I might make mistakes in this video, but that's not something I should say either way. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the first things to do when you move to a new country, for example. Um, I've moved to a few countries, two so far, not only to live, but to study. And I've visited a few other countries as a tourist before. And this might be the tips I'd give anybody who wants to move to a new country. Because it's one thing to move to a new country, but it's also another thing to actually settle in a new environment with a different culture, different ways of doing things, and just different mindsets. But if I knew these things before moving to any other country or just any different society, then my situation could have been much more easier. So as I said, this is live. This video was recorded live, so much of the things that I say won't be like fluid, but I'm trying to tell you things as they come up in my mind. Of course, I have guidelines, and that's what I'm going to give as well. So the first thing is that use the local tourist centers. Like the government invests heavily in giving information to tourists or people who are new to the city or locality where you stay. So it's highly advised that you use this information, which is freely available. So the first thing I do after I get to a country, after completing all the procedures, or maybe I've just arriving and making sure I've packed my bags, is I'll go straight to the local tourist center. Hi Naya, thanks you for joining. Yeah, if you have any question, Naya, feel free to ask in the chat. It's my first live. It might as well be interactive, okay? So the first thing you have to do is go to the local tourist center and get information about the city itself, its history, its culture, where to get government services, where the banks are, bank recommendations, if you have a problem with the police, how the police structure works, so that you get a feel of where you are. And this information is freely available. You'll get a map, you'll get flyers, all this information is there. I know, yes, you might have friends where you're going to, but probably the government knows better than your friends. Because I was in a city, for example, and I didn't know everything, and I had to Google most of the time when I needed something. But if I knew this at the start, would have made things much more easier for me. The next thing is learn the local administrative procedures about your residence permit or your student visa, how often it needs to be renewed, when you need to register, what documents are needed. If you're going to uni, when it, when is the orientation day, when do you need to report there? Such information is very important. So the administrative part is very important. You don't want to be missing registration or visa deadlines, for example. That's not good. Now, to the most important part, let's say you don't have friends where you're going to. This is your first time in a foreign area. You need friends. And what happens usually is you'll find that most people come abroad and try to replicate where they're coming from. I'm guilty of this as well. Abroad. So let's say you come from Kenya, like me, and you come from Kenya, and the first thing you do is look for people from Kenya, because it's a new place. There's so much culture shock. And the first thing people have to is to run to mama, run to someone who's familiar with you, and you end up in where you came from, but in a different place. This is very important. Yes, you need people you can relate to, but if you want to make friends with the locals and really get a feel of where you are, I'll give a few tips. Naya says your vids helped me get the scholarship. I'll be coming to Patch this month. Hey, Naya, that's pretty impressive. I'm very happy for you, Naya, and all the best in Patch. I actually met someone from Patch yesterday who lived in Patch, and I never visited Patch during my study, but I plan to visit Patch. So definitely see you there. Thanks, Naya. Thanks for the comment. I'm really glad to know that I helped you. So, Naya, and to the rest of the people who'll be watching this, if you want to make friends in a new place, especially Europe or many other, I don't know, Western places, most friendships are hobby based. So, like, you walk up to someone, strike a conversation, they might like you. Yes, that's a possibility. But I realize most friendships are hobby based. So, if you like music, if you like me, or if you like art, if you like writing, if you like to play football, if you're into makeup, if you're into fashion, you need to start looking for such places where they have events around what you like and start hanging out there. For example, what I did when I moved to Austria was I like stand up comedy, I like music. So I went to Facebook events and started looking for events around those things that I like. And I used to go to these events, and that's how I met my first friends here. And there was also like Black History Month events. I went there and I met a few friends who I'm still in touch with now. I went to, I don't know, I use different apps for this. I use Facebook events, I use Meetup. Yeah, those two. So I look up events. I use Eventbrite as well. I look up events and where they're happening and if they're suited to what I like, and I go there because it increases the likelihood that I'm going to meet someone or friends or make friends who are interested in people who are like minded, for example. So that's how to make friends. The other thing is learning the language. Let's say you've not been successful in this friend making because in some cities, unfortunately, like Hungary, some remote cities, it's very hard to find people who speak English. And the few people who speak English aren't really confident to speak it. Or people just have this suspicious vibe overall in places that are not so, exposed to internationals or people like you. This is one thing I highly recommend. Start learning the language. If you're moving to a new country, you're already a risk taker, you're already someone who wants to do what's best for them, you have a growth mindset. So I just suggest just jumping into the challenge of learning a new language. Learning a new language is beneficial that you're going to understand the mindset, the culture, the different nuances in communication of the locals, and you're going to blend in really nicely. And when people see that you've taken the effort to learn their language, which language is something that is so ingrained in people's identity, they treat you much better and are more warm to you when they know you've taken that effort to understand them. And the last point I'd say is visit more places, like take your time on the weekend, save up some money, and travel through the country, different cities, meet different people, get to know what happened here, what happened there, visit the touristic sites, visit the museums, and get a really good feel of where you live. Because these places are there for one reason, one reason only, to understand the culture and to fully integrate you into where you live because you're leaving your home. Yes, you'll meet people from your home in the new place, and you can make a home for yourself as well. But in general, this is going to be your new home for some time. You might as well get to understand the place and feel one with the place. So, if these tips helped you, I'm glad to hear some of you already got the scholarship and preparing to go to Pech this month. Some are going to Debrecen, some are going to Budapest. I'm coming with more videos on graduate on uni study and lifestyle, on tech, very many things that I'm interested in, and looking forward to receiving you all. And I'm gonna sign out now. So unless there's any other question, I'll. Yeah, Naya asks, please, with the monthly pass, can you travel through the country or just that city? Okay. So it depends on the country. The trains have their own passes, and the cities have their own city passes. So with the city monthly pass, you can travel through any place in that city for the whole month. And if you're a student, you're in luck because you're gonna get um, discounted prices for the passes. So you can also get a reduced student ticket for the trains. So let's say someone pays, an adult pays 10,000, you're gonna pay 2,500. So it's pretty good. 25%, 75% off of tickets and passes. So I'd say while you're still a student, take advantage of these discounts. Europe is big on students, and you're gonna get a lot of student discounts throughout Europe. It doesn't matter if you're a student in Hungary or Austria or Switzerland, as long as you're a student in Europe, they like taking really good care of you. So you're gonna get different discounts all over. And just a tip, Naya, there is a university student card, but also you can get like a European student pass. So you might want to get details on how you'll get that after you join uni. But if you have that European student pass, which you can apply with your university student pass, if you get that, then this might qualify you for even better discounts across Europe when you want to travel, of course, if you take my advice. So yeah, thank you for joining, and spread the good word, and see you all soon.